Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker, known to many of you as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Oh, hi guys. Welcome to the Giggling Mark Who 42's universe. We've got a show for you. We are, as you can tell from the laugh, we're going to be covering the final of 3 specials celebrating the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, The Giggle. With me co-hosting are
Vicky Jakubowski.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi.
Did the spike affect you?
No, I've been on the TARDIS too long.
Okay. Hey, that's the way to do it. We also have the cosmic fly on the wall.
Zion Quiros.
Hey, Zion.
Hi.
How you doing?
Cosmic King.
You're
Celestial.
cosmic. The Giggle. We just watched that as of recording. We watched it last night. What'd you guys think? Well, we watched it yesterday afternoon, should I say? And you in the morning, Vicky.
Yes, I watched it in the morning and again in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a double watch just to make sure I got it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
I had fun with it.
Me too.
I giggled through it.
I was happy with all 3 stories.
Yes.
You know, I hate to use this phrase because I don't think it ever went away, but Doctor Who is back.
I can understand that
for the
too.
most part.
Now, Zion and I were watching it together at a Doctor Who viewing event that I was running.
Always the best way.
Yeah, and what you said, Vicky, about really liking it, we have a little difference of opinion, don't we, Zion?
It's like
I don't. You have a difference of opinion.
I give it like a 6.57.
Okay.
Yeah,
But that's just me.
And he has a reason for it. He has he's got a valid reason for it, at least from what he's told me. So we're gonna do that in the second half of the program. How about that? We're gonna talk about what Zion did not like about this episode. Okay, Zion, is that okay that we parlay that a little?
Oh, the bad jokes have begun.
Yeah, I think they have. Welcome to Dad Who Jokey 42. Oh, before we begin, well, not even before we begin, I had asked people on Facebook yesterday to give us ideas of what to talk about, what they would like to be brought up during our show today. And I want to give a big shout out to Earl Green. Earl Green commented, "I love this one like crazy. To me, it doesn't break the universe in the slightest. In fact, it explains and clarifies and confirms a heap of things that have been on the table for at least 40 to 50 years. It also future-proofs the format in some very important ways. It'll be interesting to hear what y'all thought." Well, that's what we're planning to do, Earl. We're going to tell you what we thought. Okay, I want to start off. Russell's come back. Russell's doing the writing and the show running. I think he's doing a brilliant job again. But in this story, you know, it's 60th anniversary. You definitely want to celebrate what happened before and what's coming in the future. And Russell kind of depended on greatest hits from one particular story. Do you guys know what that story is that he totally took his greatest hits from?
What?
The Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords. Let's go through this, folks. I have a list. First, a unit location. In the Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, it was Unit's flying aircraft carrier, the Valiant. In the Giggle, It was Unit Sky Tower in London, which, by the way, looks totally like Stark Tower or Avengers Tower from the
Yes,
MCU.
I
Yep.
know. I know.
Um,
Everyone made that joke.
Okay. The next greatest hits. Satellite network causing major problems. In The Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords, it was the Archangel network, which is supposed to be a secure UK defense system. Not. In the Giggle, a lot of the problem is because of a network of satellites and internet coverage. So,
But they
satellite
did
network
say it was
in
not
both.
like Archangel, and they had double checked.
Well, no, it was not. But the fact that they pointed it out, there was a greatest
Yes.
hit. The villain's dance number. In The Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, the master was dancing, and I can't remember what song it was, but it was a big pop tune at some point in the past. And in the Giggle, the Toymaker dances to the Spice Girls. So, again, greatest hits. Come With Me is what I call the next greatest hit. In The Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, the Doctor tries to get the to get the Master to drop his plans and come with him. They'll be together, they'll travel, and they'll take care of each other. In the Giggle, the Doctor tells the Toymaker the same thing. Come with me, we'll travel together. You don't have to be on Earth. You don't have to do this. Same plot point. Okay, and of course, the Flash Gordon effect. The end. In The Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, the Master's ring is saved and then is stolen at the end with the end question mark. In the Giggle, the Toymaker's gold tooth is saved and is stolen at the end with a laugh. This time I think it's the Master, and the reason, but
Wasn't the
it's the
master
Master again.
in the gold tooth?
He's in the gold tooth,
Yes.
and the laughter. I'm pretty sure the Master is going to be back because of that. But do you see all of these things that happened in the Giggle happened kind of in the Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords, and I haven't seen anyone on social media or anywhere bring these up.
That's interesting.
This is an exclusive to Mark Who 40.
That's interesting.
We have to somehow stress them. Well, you guys are already listening, but we have to get people to listen to this episode by telling them, hey, we have plot points that no one else does.
Yeah.
But you knew that, folks, because you're listening. Thank you. There were some other greatest hits. The character of news anchor Trinity Wells was back, but she should be back. And the plot point that Donna was a very fast typist is also brought back. But those aren't really from Blast from the Past. But the Master Toymaker similarities. Sorry, Russell. You totally stole from yourself. But that's genius that you can make a new story out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's a
that's
little bit
not
of cheating, but
unusual for
yeah.
writers to do that.
No. And because, like I said, 60th anniversary looking back. But it's interesting that he
Yes.
took everything from one particular story. Taking things from
Okay.
bits and pieces of his past. Yeah, that could work. Not to say that I don't give this episode a 10 out of 10. But I'm, nitpicking because we're a podcast and we have to tell you these things. Does anyone want to go through the story? Vicky, why don't you do it again? You're always so good at that. You were good at it the last 2 weeks. Go for it. We'll just interrupt whenever we want. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Well, first we open up with a toy shop, and the guy's looking for a toy. And of course, we have Neil Patrick Harris, which all of us over on this side of the pond are going, because
Legend.
okay, yes.
Gary.
Oh God, I knew you were going to do all that. But you just, and of course it's been talked about for weeks and weeks, months and months, something like that. So of course we knew that he was going to be deliciously evil. But what it opens up to is an actual real life occurrence. So this person, John Logie Baird, is a real Scottish inventor who actually created the first working television set back in 1926 or 1925.
It was he did it on the
26?
25th of March, 1925, to be
Thank you.
exact. Need to be exact. Yeah.
And he really did take a doll, and he did do it over what we would now call a television airwave.
And the doll's real name was Stooky Bill.
It really was.
It
Stooky
really
Bill.
was, folks. This was a
So
true. This is based on a true story.
Yes.
This episode,
and to get and anyone who's ever worked in either film or TV would probably complain about the lights today.
Mhm.
But what they don't know is back in the 50s it was even worse. Well, you have to imagine back in the 1920s the amount of light that was needed was so insane. Yes, it really did catch the doll on fire.
Yeah.
So all of that really happened. So as has happened in previous Doctor Who stories going all the way back to the 60s, they take a little piece of real history, insert it in there, which gives it this lovely little gravitas, and just makes it really kind of cool and neat, and plus really creepy, because any doll head that's catching on fire and burning and laughing is always creepy.
Oh God,
So-
the dolls were all creepy.
they were
the episode
deliciously
is
creepy.
full of creepy dolls.
This is one of the things that makes this episode so great is you have humor, you have music, you've got sleight of hand, you've got puppets, you've got creepy puppets, you've got you've got you got it kind of all. You've got old Who, you got new Who, you got new Who. You've got it all in this one. So so next we're back to today. And the world's falling apart because everyone thinks they're right. Sound familiar, people? Because everyone thinks they're right now in 2023.
Well, the fact that they bring up canceling in some of the dialogue, it totally pointed out today's environment.
Everyone thinks that they're right, and that is it's kind of humorous of, is it the Toymaker or is it really happening?
Yeah.
And so it's a fascinating little juxtaposition of the real world. Again, some reality thrown in there. So they get to Unit, which, yes, looks suspiciously like the Avengers campus. And I'm sorry.
And it's state of the art, just like the Valiant in Sound of Drums.
You're just going to
control room. I'm sorry. It was a control room, both of them.
Well, and the control room here is fabulous.
Yeah.
Because, there's no steps. Thank you very much. I'm going to be bringing this up several times because I notice these things as somebody who often has to use a chair, that I notice in every movie and every show. God, I could not get through that room.
Then you must have liked the end. Then you must have liked the end.
But we'll get to that in a minute. We're not
we'll
there
get to
yet.
that. Yeah.
So, easy to get around. It's a beautiful. It's and of course, as any good HQ would be, it's bright white, got lots of screens. We got this beautiful little alien explaining everything to us, and it's not the Doctor, and and they're all wearing cute little armbands that keep them all in check, because if they take it off, well, as Stuart showed us, they go a little mad. And so, and it turns out that it is the Toymaker. So the Doctor and Donna, I know I just totally went off track here. The Doctor and Donna go back to the 1925, and they go to the toy store, where they end up in another Scooby-Doo moment.
Thank you. It's on my notes right there. Scooby-Doo. It's right there.
Because we've got a long hallway with lots of doors. And of course they get separated because it has to happen. It's required. And so they're running around trying to get around, and then we have this lovely moment with oh, I'm sorry, I'm picturing the scene. We've got the baby dolls coming down from the ceiling, coming down towards Donna, and the cute little rhyme from the little mummy doll, and then they all attack Donna, but Donna's Donna.
I'm going to interrupt there.
Terrifying.
I'm going to interrupt there. 1980s, somewhere in there was a schlocky movie with that scene in it. I don't remember if it was Puppet Master or if it was another one of those movies.
I think it was Puppet Master.
It wasn't, because I'm watching it. I'm going, he stole that.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Puppet Master because then there was like 5 sequels to it.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute 80s movie, 80s
Yeah.
schlocky movie all the way that you didn't want to watch, but you watched anyway because you're like,
Yes.
and it just ruins dolls for you everywhere. It goes right up there with the Annette Funicello Fantasy Island. She has a mannequin, and she's a ventriloquist, and then she has to put the doll in the fire to put the end. Yeah. So
Thank you for bringing up Fantasy Island. I appreciate that. I'm gonna, after we're done with the show, I'm gonna watch that episode. I've got it.
oh, that one is
I'll rewatch
just
it.
so creepy. And there's nothing wrong with dolls, but boy, they can turn creepy fast.
Absolutely.
But Donna is Donna. She kicks butt, and I love it. But of course, while she's dealing with her dolls, we have the doctor dealing with his own dolls, where Baird's assistant has been turned into a marionette, but then the marionette turns from the assistant into the doctor because the doctor thought he was clever. And, and then they run into each other and yay, they're free. No, they're not. Now they're at a new marionette show. And this is where it gets interesting because clearly, the Toymaker's thinking that he can convince Donna that the doctor is bad. Tells the story of Amy Pond. Tells the story of Bill. Tells the story of who am I missing?
Clara.
I'm missing someone. Thank you, Clara. Brain went there for a moment. Sorry.
Claritin. That's a throwback.
There's a throwback. And so, and the doctor has an answer for all of them, that technically all of them live their lives and they didn't die tragic deaths because of the doctor. They somehow were able to still be their best selves and have a full life despite the doctor.
Well, that's all right then.
Yes, I know. That was hilarious. That was just, and he was failing. So then the doctor does what the doctor does and says, I challenge you to a game.
Yeah.
And this was good. And it's a simple game because those are the best games to ever challenge a gamester too. Never do the complex games. Never do a complex game. The simple one, high card. And the Toymaker thinks he's won. He's got the high card. He's got the king. Nope. It's best 2 out of 3 because don't forget, I bested you that last time back when, I was the second doctor, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. First doctor, 3rd season.
Oh, I'm sorry. 3rd season, first doctor.
Yeah.
Woo! Yes, I'm showing my age now, aren't I? So, my gray hairs are coming through. And so,
mine are already here.
So then, great. Now we got to do more. So the whole toy shop starts to collapse upon itself. And I love the way Donna goes, I'm already running. So, Donna is like just the smartest. She comes across that she really would not be the best companion for the doctor, yet she is. She is always in my top 3 because she just is. She seems like an every person, but she is special. And she can match the doctor step for step. So they get out, the little box comes, and they go back to 2023. And, the doctor's trying to get ahead of it and trying to warn unit, okay, we got to do this, we got to look for anomalies, blah, blah, blah. Too late. He's already there. And he's singing to the Spice Girls in a full Music Man outfit.
It's
which
funny.
For those of you who are not familiar with American musicals, he's dressed as a band leader, bright red, the boots, the bayonet, the whole thing.
I'm sure that music was played in the West End. I'm sure of it.
I'm sure
it's
of it
high.
too.
Probably the Hugh Jackman.
That's true. I think Hugh Jackman did do a revival of it.
Yeah.
And so I have to tell you, that scene is so hilarious. He does a tango. He twirls Melanie. It is just And then there's the American Beauty scene at the end where he's with the roses and he throws them up at the camera. And I mean, there are so many Easter eggs in that one scene alone.
Yeah.
That is just you know he's evil and you know he's horrible. And he
No,
turns
no, we don't.
oh please, he turned those two
No. The
soldiers into
Toymaker is above good and evil. He is a higher being from the previous universe. He's
wah,
basically
wah,
a
wah,
god.
wah, wah,
He's
wah,
basically
wah,
a
wah.
god. And he
Okay, well,
doesn't have
he's not a nice god because he turned those poor little soldiers into balloons. Essentially, they were dead.
everything he does is for the game.
Yeah,
It's
well, he's
not good or
annoying.
evil.
Now, I didn't have a problem with him turning the bullets into roses. I was fine with that, but he did not have to hurt the poor little soldiers.
Oh, you mean those balls?
Yes.
There were a lot of balls in this episode. This
There's
is
a
like
lot of balls in this episode.
maybe that should be the name of the episode. The balls episode. I don't know. We'll come up with a
the
title.
balls of Gallifrey.
The balls of Gallifrey.
I'm coming
The
up with
Toymaker's balls. Ba-dum-bum.
Okay, no, that's a double entendre I don't think we want, darling. You're gonna get us into trouble, and you're gonna get us in. Oh, you're gonna get us in.
Oh, we're not on subspace right now. We don't.
Oh yes, the world is going to hell in a handbasket, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So
because it's not good or bad.
But well, you know, he also sends people off the edge of the platform, so you know that's not terribly good either.
Oh, they're still falling.
Yeah, they're still falling. Eventually, there's going to be a stoppage at the end of that falling.
Well, you know, you heard it 2 seconds later. Thud. And
yes.
If you were watching the captions, it said it there.
Thud.
Yeah.
That's not a good ending. Anyway, so.
But at least Kate makes a note after the whole adventure to reach out to the families.
She does, because she is a good commanding officer.
Yeah. Her father would have done that too.
Too late. He's already there.
Yeah.
So now they got to figure out what the heck they're going to do and how they're going to resolve this. And that's where we get the big speech from the doctor trying to convince him that there's another way. It doesn't have to be this way. So then what does he do? He gets behind the big giant laser thingy bobby that he thinks is a really cool toy.
The galvanic?
Yeah, I know. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Thank you. And he shoots the doctor. What kind of, I mean, really? But, well, first he threatens to shoot everyone else. Then he shoots the doctor.
But he has a reason for shooting the doctor, and it's all part of the game. He played the first game as the first doctor. He played the second game as a different face doctor. So the third game, according to the doctor's rules, is to play with a different doctor. Yeah.
Which I guess I can see the logic in that.
And it's following the rules. Yeah.
Yeah. Rules. Anyway, so, you know, now we've got, you know, it's happening. So we got Mel on one side and we've got Donna on the other side.
Oh, the regeneration. Yeah.
The regeneration.
And you see the flames starting. You see the flames starting to come out of his head, and
it just, you know, and you've got a very typical New Who regeneration system thing going on, and it peters out.
Yeah,
and he goes,
"Uh-oh, yeah,
something different, something new. I need you guys to pull." And of course, you know, we've all got the pull your finger joke going on in your head.
Yeah, I think Donna recognized that immediately.
And then they pull. Now, of course, I'm laughing because the first thing that I notice is the splitting of the clothing.
Yeah.
Nice job, because that is difficult to do in the best of all circumstances. I have to give major props to the people who created this scene, because it is both practical with a little bit of CGI thrown in. They did an amazing job of pulling this off, pun intended. And they pulled, and you get suddenly there's two of them, sort of.
Yeah.
It's like a Siamese twin sort of situation. I was like, but I'm me, but I'm definitely me.
It was
interesting. It's great.
Yeah, it was interesting. When the 14th Doctor was blasted with the Galvatronic. Thank you, Galvatronic ray. And he needed to regenerate. I'm going, wow, there's still time left. Are they doing something different and not, they're going to actually have Ncuti in this, taking over and saving the day?
Right, I was wondering.
But they did that, but not in the way we expected. I thought the 14 would be gone, David would be gone, but now they're both there because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They call it the bigeneration.
And it was very cool the way they did it. And I like the splitting of the clothes, because then we had Ncuti in the shirt, the tie, the underwear, the socks, and the shoes.
Yeah, his legs were showing. All the people
Yes.
watching can.
He's
He's the sexy
so
doctor.
cute.
Everyone used to call
He
Paul
is the
McGann the
sexy
sexy doctor. No. Ncuti will be the sexy doctor.
He will be the sexy doctor,
So
because
what
he
would
will be
Paul
showing
be?
lots of leg.
What would Paul be?
But I'm telling you that it was so cute, and the way that they played against each other was just so nice. And I saw a little clip where the two of them were talking about how they worked with each other to create this scene. And it was just, and it's really nice when you see that two actors can come together. And I think for this to really work, you needed that to you needed two actors who could really work together, because I think it would have absolutely fallen on its face if they couldn't have worked together this well. And
Yeah.
they found a great way to work with each other and just played against it. And it fit in this is a, for the scary bits and the emotional bits and everything else that happened in this one, this is truly a very playful episode, in that there is so much of of ending on a high bit. But it just, now they have to play the game with
More balls.
more balls. It's like, well, let's play the very first game, which, when the Doctor and Donna went in to meet the Toymaker back in 1925, he mentioned the first game was the throwing of rocks, throwing of balls.
Yeah.
And so, fine, we're going to play balls. And anyone who has played a game of any form of balls where the goal is to not let the ball drop, it's always harder than it looks. And I heard that David Tennant was fairly good, because basically a lot of the scenes were them being filmed catching balls and falling individually, because it wasn't actually them throwing balls at each other. Ncuti could not catch the ball to save his life, so a lot of it was him pulling the ball and standing up and having the ball in his hand magically. But they beat the Toymaker.
Yeah.
Fair and square. The ball goes off the edge. It's still falling. And and then they wipe him from the universe, and they put him in the box. And now it becomes, what do they do? Now, of course, we've got the little gold tooth that's got the master in it, that's picked up by somebody with red nail polish on her fingers. Who can it be? Can't wait to find out, but that'll come later. Now, of course, he does mention something else is to come, which is interesting.
Yeah, his minions. His minions are still out there.
So something else is to come, which is also what we heard
from Meep. Yeah.
From Meep.
Definitely some things that are being dangled for us for the next Ncuti season, or the second season, because Russell sometimes draws things out. It could be the second season. Yeah.
It could be the second season. But then it becomes, so what's to happen of Dr. 14? Well, Donna, they all make a very good point. Maybe it means that the Doctor's meant to come home. That's why he has the face he does, so he can come home. But he can't give up the TARDIS. So with a little bit of magic and a sledgehammer that looks like it came right out of Harley Quinn's drawers, A little bit of slam dam, and there we go, a second TARDIS. Now my question is it truly a second TARDIS? What's going to be different about the two TARDISes, and what are we going to learn that's going to be different? Now, of course, Ncuti has got a jukebox, which I think is
and that's the difference. One likes
no.
music, one
There's going to be
doesn't.
something else. There's going to be something else.
And
although, so now we've got the 14th Doctor is having a family meal with Donna, her family, and Melanie. And
it's the Doctor's family now.
It's the Doctor's family now.
Yeah.
And there has been conversation about maybe the Doctor's taking somebody to go to, I don't know, maybe a day trip somewhere.
Well, he took Rose to Mars. He took Mel to New York during the Gilded Age. They're taking trips. They're definitely, the TARDIS definitely works. The TARDIS definitely works.
But I think that it's going to have something different, some limitations, something. I don't know what it is yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
I want to curtail that,
another
curtail to the second half on more of this. I want to, because there's a big discussion on this.
So that's it in a very, very long. I forgot about the grandpa is off shooting off the moles, but don't worry, the Doctor put a force field because the Doctor likes the moles. So grandpa's.
I love the moles.
I know. Who wouldn't love the moles? Didn't we have mole people in a really old show once?
No, that was Superman.
Oh, that was Superman. Never mind.
Superman.
Again, showing my age.
With George Reeves.
Okay. Yes, probably.
No, I think we're both there. So, guys, we have a lot to talk about because we've given you the plot, but we have a lot of stuff that we want to talk about the show. We're actually going to take our break early, so we don't have to take it later. So we'll be right back with more of Mark Who 42's universe.
Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Get ready for the ultimate geek experience right here in the Sunshine State. Florida Geek Scene presents a full calendar of events and conventions. From anime to horror, we've got it all. Meet your favorite stars, find rare collectibles, and immerse yourself in your passions. Experience the thrill of cosplay and witness amazing live performances. Stay up to date with the latest news and reviews all across Florida. Florida Geek Scene, where pop culture happens. Visit us online for more. Don't miss out on the fun. Join us at Florida Geek Scene, floridageekscene.com.
Hello, geeks and geekettes. I'm Steve Megatron, and if you're looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of geeky topics, then check out Altered Geek. Altered Geek covers superheroes, Star Trek, pop culture, comics, film, television, animation, gaming, tech, and more. So check out Altered Geek and get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, Blog Talk Radio, and the Geekcast Radio Network.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's Universe.
Welcome back to more of Mark Who 42's Universe. We're discussing Episode 3, the third special of the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, with David Tennant. Donna Noble is played by Catherine Tate. Ncuti Gatwa. Bonnie Langford is Mel. Neil Patrick Harris as the Toymaker. Now, and with me, of course, are Vicky Jakubowski and the Cosmic Fly on the Walls. I am Quiros. Okay, guys. First of all, during the break, I had to go somewhere, so I got there. But then my car ran out of gas, so I had to take a Zingo back.
What's a Zingo?
A Zingo. This is interesting. Remember the last episode? They had the Mavity joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Russell decided let's have another word joke, and Zingo, and as Mel calls it, it's a thing you get a lift from. Okay. That's what a Zingo is. Which, because Mel said that brings me to Melanie Bush. Melanie's back.
Yes.
So much more character development in an hour than in the 30 episodes she was in before, and not including Para.
Finally, with a computer.
Yeah.
They
Oh my
actually
God.
remembered.
She's a computer programmer. And I
Yes.
love the story because as last we left, well, except for Power of the Doctor when she's already on Earth, when last we left Mel, she was leaving Iceworld with Sabalon Glitz. That
Yes.
was in Dragonfire episode 3. So they were nice enough to pick up. She traveled the galaxy and universe with Sabalon, and then Sabalon died at the age of 101, tripping over a bottle of whiskey. The perfect way for him to go.
I know. I thought that was so
Yeah,
good.
And then she
absolutely.
took the Zingo back, and then Kate Stewart went to her and said, "Hey, you've traveled with a doctor. Join unit." And
It sounds like the
Bonnie
perfect
said,
job.
"Sure." And that's actually funny, pulling people from the Doctor's past into unit, because in this episode, Kate actually asks Donna
Yes.
if they make it through this whole Mishigash, will she join? And she goes, 60,000 pounds a year.
Make it
Donna
double.
takes a second and goes, 120,000 plus 5 weeks paid vacation. And Kate takes a brief not even a brief
Second.
breath. She goes, deal. So she said deal right away, almost no thought. So, and this brings me to another well, everything brings me to another thing. That's why the universe is all connected. Bringing people onto unit, and at this point they could do 2 spin-offs from this episode. The unit
Ooh.
family, all the stories with unit, and you could have Bonnie in there, Mel,
Yeah.
and maybe Sophie Aldred as Ace, because she and Tegan, because they were with unit in Power of the Doctor and they're still alive. And also, and I'm gonna say it now, but we're gonna leave it. Well, we kind of mentioned it. The Noble family show
Yeah.
featuring
Yeah.
Dr. Donna and the Doctor. And yes, I know, Zion, this is something you have a point against. So
I am
again, we'll
physically cringing with my face right now. You don't understand.
I know we're gonna let you exude all that. We're gonna let you do all that in a little while. Vicky, what do you want to? Anything you want to point out? Oh! Before you do, Disney. Every episode in the last 3 episodes, I've given the Disney money report, and we have one.
Oh, really?
The Vlinks. The Vlinks is the entity that now helps Unit.
Yes.
The alien Vlinks. The robot alien that was
That
kind
could
of
be
there.
yet another toy that they had.
Another toy, if they do a unit spin-off, they have a character that's not human. They can do it. Russell is setting it all up.
I will tell you that, and we've had this discussion before. Disney has made a couple of missteps when it comes to marketing merchandise. Usually they're on it. Their single biggest misstep of all times will probably always be the child. When it came to Grogu from The Mandalorian, and they did not have any merchandise available until after the first series was completely done with. They had nothing for that first Christmas, and all they had at best was a couple of keychains and a cup. They didn't have any plush animals until almost 6 months after the show finished airing. And they continue to miss out on these Doctor Who's and some other shows where someone in their marketing department needs to, I'm sorry, I hate ever recommending this, be fired and go, cute cuddly thing, must market. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of mass marketing to begin with, but if you're in the business to make money, and let's be honest, Disney is, then you should be making things to be mass marketed.
I would buy a Ncuti.
Yes. I mean, my goodness, I remember when Moana came out and I wanted a Pua. I also grew up in
You're
Hawaii.
making
And
up
the
these
idea,
words, aren't you? You're making up these
no,
words.
Pua is actually it actually was the her pet pig,
I
and
haven't. And the name of the movie, I don't know. This sounds like you made it up. Sounds
Moana.
like you totally.
Great
Stop
movie.
it.
Moana.
Yes.
Sounds like a
And
made up word.
they did not have a plush Pua for almost a year.
Are you
And
allowed
all I
to
could
say
think
that
of
on
was,
radio? I'm just really. The
hey,
word
if
is
I was on
killing
the
me here.
islands, they would all be agreeing. I mean,
Okay.
you mainlanders, I don't know what's wrong with
I
you.
don't know.
Um,
That's right.
but
You lived in Hawaii, didn't you?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. But it just it's the funniest thing when I look at what they choose to market, and I have seen this actually several times for movies. And you guys know I go to the parks a couple times a year,
Yeah.
and I am a big Disney fan, but I love it when they send me surveys, because I'm very honest with them. You have this movie come out, or you have this TV show come out. You have these opportunities that okay, yes, I do have a business degree and I did marketing for a while, but very little, very, very little. And I look at it and, oh, well, that would be a great toy. Well, that would be fabulous. This would be wonderful. And they have nothing. For the movie Soul, they've had very little merchandise for all these different things that they could have done all this stuff for. And I feel like they're missing out on Doctor Who. They should be double downing on it and going, okay, we've got this really great franchise now. It's got fans going back 60 years. What can we do with it? And instead of going, they're going, I don't know.
I'm still going with
disappointed.
my theory, because I've seen the trailer, that they are going to push for all their advertisement going into the new Ncuti season. Because if you're on Disney Plus, you'd think they put these specials under Doctor Who and then episodes. Instead, it's Doctor Who Special 1, a separate listing for Doctor Who Special 2, a separate
I
listing
know.
for Doctor. So I don't think they're considering this part of Doctor Who. This is like a movie, an extra thing that they got a hold of. I don't think that they are legitimately covering Ncuti until next season. Maybe the Christmas episode. I don't know, but I think when
I'm
the season
hoping
comes
that
in the
maybe
spring,
by
they're
the
going to
time
push it.
we have it, that they will end up creating a subgroup.
A
I mean,
hub.
I
Yeah.
understand that they, even if it's not, because not everything gets a tag, but there should be, even if you go into the search function, there should be a search tab for it.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking as we speak.
They just put a
Loki has a
Hulu hub.
collection.
They just put the Hulu tab at the top of the page because now they're merging their two services.
Interesting.
So, I mean, they may have had room for Doctor Who. I don't know if they have room now.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, it is, but I don't think they've pushed this. I think the anniversary specials were for the old fans and for people who knew it. But I got to point this out. This episode was perfect for newbies. You didn't have to know a single thing going in. They completely explain the Toymaker in 4 different points, so it's not like a long exposition talking about who he is, what happened between the Doctor and him. So I thought I think Russell was originally a little worried about, should he do this during the anniversary because new people coming in, they won't have a background. But he seemed to have covered that. He seemed to make it work.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I just feel like it's underwhelming, like the Toymaker's appearance. That's just personally me. Maybe because it's weird. It's not because I remember the Celestial Toymaker series, because I watched it for the first time 72 hours ago, right?
I should have shown it at the viewing party. Yeah.
And it's pretty mid. It's like 5 or 6, 6, 7, somewhere along those lines, right? It's not the best story. It's not the worst story. But one thing that I will give it is its abstractness.
Yeah.
It in terms of like old Who, that is the first like try at something that's not like face value.
Yeah.
And-
Another one that would be considered similar to that would be the mind robber during Patrick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And like that's like in like what 67, 68?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like 2-3 years after.
Yeah.
But
yes.
like
because
way-
it was Zoe. It was Zoe, so it would have had to be 68, 69, something like that.
yes.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I figured out is the reason why this whole episode is mythicized is because of the Toymaker and how he's portrayed and how like I'm guessing how he was portrayed during his missing years and such.
Mhm.
But like essentially what you get is this prankster guy. He's like a mix of Mr. Mixer-Spitlick and
Mixel Pitalik. Mixel
yes.
Pitalik. Say it right. Repeat after me. Mixel Pitalik.
It's
You
so
sure?
hard to say.
And
Mixer-Spitlick.
try saying it backwards.
Oh
so
my
you can
goodness,
go
I
away.
tried so
No,
hard.
no.
But like it's a mix of him and Q to an extent. But here's the thing. He's a sore loser. He turns the
Yes.
games to his favor.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and
Making
you're
things
right.
harder.
He said he doesn't cheat. In this one, he
But he
said
is
the
a sore
game never
loser.
cheats, but he kind of cheated during the Celestial Toymaker. You're kind of right there.
Yeah, and like he at the end of the day, when you watch the final test
Hmm.
and you get to the part that everyone talks about, you realize he's a sore loser. Every time he loses, he
Yes.
blows up the universe. and I'm like, wow, that's something else. And so I came in this episode expecting, okay, I just got Wild Blue Yonder.
Yes.
Very abstract. I'm going to get some very abstract stuff right now. And I get a God Complex room. Remember the God Complex with Matt Smith with the doors that never ended?
Mm-hmm.
I got that and something else. It's like when it got into the Celestial Toy Room, I thought, okay, fine. Personally, me, I thought this entire series was in the Celestial Toy Room. Everything like was weird enough to the point where you can say that this whole thing has been a game.
Yeah, which is why I thought the Star Beast was referring to the Celestial Toymaker when he said boss.
Same.
Because
But,
I thought this was all the Toymaker's land. And I know we had that disagreement, Zion, that you would hate for all the things about Rose and Donna Noble and stuff to be just BS because it wasn't real.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yes. But like, here's the thing about it. Like, he kind of like nerfed the toy room because once you get in, you can't get out. You are in his realm. It's like the Doctor Strange realm where he did it like 90 times now, where like he puts you in his realm and you get like the 4 versions of New York.
Oh, the Spider-Man sequence, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but like on steroids. You are in his realm, and like you can only get out if you beat him.
Yeah.
And so like when I look at how they're like trying to deal with like his powers, like they try to show like he's like omnipotent. But like I feel like they like move towards more of Q rather than the Toymaker, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can
also,
see that.
One thing that I want to point out too is that when it came down to the final game, right? At least this version of the final game, they brought up the score. And the score apparently is 1-1. It's not 1-1 because in the first episode,
I saw you write that. Why is it 2-1? Because I see it as 1-1.
It's 2-1 because in the first episode of the Celestial Toymaker, they've met. And the first Doctor
Wow,
said,
you are right.
yes, yes, yes. They said that they met. And the first Doctor says specifically, you are like a spider to flies. If the first Doctor ran into the Toymaker, that means he's played the game. There's no way that the first Doctor, that the Toymaker is going to run into the Doctor, realize that he's dealing with someone that can dwell or quench his boredom and just let him go. There's no way. He's played the game. And that's why the Doctor said, okay, now you've seen me, so let me go. And he said, no, we're going to play the game again. So they've met before.
Well, maybe it's 2 for 2. Maybe they both. No, I guess that wouldn't work for the Toymaker. Yeah, you're right. So the final score is 3-1. And to be honest, because there were 2 Doctors, is 4-1.
Technically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that, and
point.
like once you go back to how he was being, why was he just folded up? Because like again, we're dealing with a sore loser. That's another thing. We've been doing the final game, and the first time that the Toymaker has apparently met the Doctor since the first time they met. Since we're throwing out all Big Finish and the magic mousetrap and everything and blah blah, fine, whatever, right? But so this is a golden opportunity. There's no way that we're playing ball, or at least the Toymaker is not going to play where it's just ball. He's a god. He's technically a god from an older universe. They've never really confirmed that, but he's up there. He's like Q. Is Q going to just play ball with Picard? I'm sure not. But like, yeah, I feel like the Toymaker just said, you know what, I lost, fine. And so for some reason I get sealed back in the toy room where I'm in control. But hey, it's kind of weird. But like, yeah, the other episode is overall still good. It's just like you have to get around certain things. Like all it comes down is like the game. The Toymaker at the end of the day is about the games, and they didn't really play that much games. And like when it came down to it, the Toymaker technically was supposed to be at an advantage. Because what happens every single time the Doctor regenerates?
I'm gonna let
What's
you answer that. I'm gonna
What's
let you answer that.
the one constant? The regeneration sickness. He's always loopy.
Well, the regeneration sickness started. Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, technically it's been all through.
He is
I
always
remember
loopy.
reading somewhere saying that it wasn't all the way through, but now that I think of it, 1 to 2, Power of the Daleks, he was
Yes.
acting weird. 2 to 3, he was in the
He was acting
hospital.
weird.
3 to 4, he was being treated by Harry Sullivan. 4 to 5, yeah, I guess they all had, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like when I think about it, and I look at this episode, none of them had the sickness. They all were just able to just play ball, which I think, again, which is very, very, very convenient. It's extremely convenient.
I think,
Yeah,
I think
it's just weird.
I think the bigeneration nixes that, and I definitely want to touch on that. In
I
just
kind
a
of think
moment.
that might be it, because it was not a regeneration, but
Yeah, it was a bigeneration.
But a bigeneration, it wasn't the same thing. Instead of a complete redo and a rescramble of all the genes and atoms and everything else going on in the body, it was a splitting. It wasn't the same.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Right off rip, what do you guys think about the regeneration?
I thought you'd never ask. Few things. First of all, I absolutely have no problem with the 10th and 14th Doctor surviving as the curator. In Day of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary story, Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor, was the curator and mentioned that the Doctor is going to run across previous faces of himself. That's a perfect setup.
It is.
Russell took a dangling plot line and possibly has filled it. Possibly. That could work. We can totally retcon this doctor becoming, well, not retcon, but this doctor becomes a curator. I think it not only fits, it would be really cool. If that's what Russell has on his mind.
That makes sense. Personally, I just saw that the doctor just retired and just went to Earth and just went to his favorite planet and just said, I'm just gonna live my days here. But if we were to go down that route and say that he was to become another regeneration or another version of Doctor, I'd go straight for the Valyard. It would hurt. It would hurt people. But I don't care. That's the perfect way to bring him back in. We've been dealing with this continental, what Patty you used to call, or probably still calls, a continuing time bomb.
Yes.
That whenever someone wants to bring it up, you're gonna have a billion heads saying how. Because the master said that that's the doctor when he ran in out of regeneration.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what? I like either of the ideas, Valyard or curator. And okay, now Zion, I want you to talk about what you told me yesterday about why it stinks what they're doing to Ncuti here.
Okay. Every single time. Okay, we're dealing with Doctor Who here, right? Since 66, 67, when Hartnell regenerated, we've had to deal with this of the passing of the torch, essentially. Right? We've been dealing with this since the 60s. People saw Hartnell go and said, this is it. The show's done. So you have to deal with it, and then you get the Tron years, and then that ends up being a cornerstone to where we are right now.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
At the end, that's the cycle that's been going on for the past 60 years. You have your favorite doctor. My favorite is Sylvester McCoy. He's technically the most tenured doctor of all the doctors, but I still had to give him up eventually. Of all the things I had to shoot through and read and such, eventually it still came down to the TV movie.
Yeah.
The big man is going to go. Now we have fan favorites. Clearly, we have Tom Baker and David Tennant. We have the two cornerstones of both eras of Who. Tom Baker chose, at least, to not go into the fifth Doctor or the five Doctors because he didn't want to overshadow the other Doctors. Right? Given that that's what he said. But now we look at what's going on here, right? At least this is how I look at it. You have a fan favorite in David Tennant.
Yeah.
Now you must pass the torch, right? Because you have brought back the fan favorite. We live in a show where we never double back. It was always moving forward. David Tennant is literally the point where we can say we doubled back. So, like, we have to pass the torch. But keeping him, we don't have to pass people don't have to pass the torch now. People could just keep David Tennant.
Yeah.
And it all depends on when this spinoff comes out. If it comes out during the Ncuti years, we'll be back here saying this spinoff has more viewers than the actual show. Simply because it's David Tennant.
Yeah.
You could put it against Matt Smith if you wanted to. It'd still be David Tennant. Because David Tennant has a TARDIS with Donna. We are still continuing season 4. So, like, it to me, it's unfair. Because, like, I'm putting it like this. Let's rewind the clock like 3-4 years and do this with Jodie. How would it have been taken? Because people was already complaining that they was making Jodie too much like Tennant, and she's not allowed to be her own doctor. Because, like, I remember during that time, every single team up of the 13th Doctor was with Tennant. Every single one. It's like she couldn't hold her own water, right? So, like, let's say that the spinoff of David Tennant came out at the same time of Jodie Whittaker. What would have happened? You would have a 90-10 slide, maybe even more, just because it's David Tennant. No one would watch Jodie. So like you are very in dangerous waters with the same thing happening right now, depending on when this spinoff comes out. Like if it was just the meta crisis and the Doctor is just there and he has to maybe grow TARDIS or whatnot. Personally, I wouldn't even give him a TARDIS. The whole fact that, because like again, we talked about the Celestial Toymaker. His power is his own power. He doesn't have residual power. It doesn't linger around until R2D deemed it so.
Right.
You can't just pull out Harley's mallet and just smack the TARDIS and just boom clone it like a Xerox machine.
You know, similar thing happened Christmas Invasion when David Tennant's hand was chopped off, and it regrew because of the residual energy. And I think that's another greatest hits there when he hits the TARDIS.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like
No one
again,
got that. All right.
again, we're talking about the definite article.
Yeah.
The Doctor.
You may
Now,
be a doctor, but I am the Doctor.
Doctor.
Definitive article.
the
Yes.
definite article, right? That's what it comes down to now, right? Personally, I don't have to think hard about this. People see David Tennant as the Doctor. I went through the comments, and then people are entitled to feel any way they like. And the overall thing that I've seen is that people are saying, "Oh my God, thank you for not having me go through David Tennant regenerating again." You don't want to go through one of the things that makes this show unique.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that makes this show universal. It makes it infinite. It makes it as long as the Doctor lives. It can go on forever because of this cycle. Now we have a literal button, because like now this is involved. If you haven't went past the credits, go past the credits and go all the way back where you see that this is being funded by this, right? So they somewhere in there have an arm in this because this is shooting season is season 1 again. They have an arm in this somehow.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. You also said the confidence level in Ncuti, didn't you? You mentioned something about that.
Yes, that's where I'm going right now with this. We have a literal button saying, okay, Doctor Who A, we're gonna call this the shooting one. Doctor Who A is underperforming. It's time to bring out Doctor Who B. Why are we not just using Doctor Who B? Because he has a TARDIS. He can still regenerate. He's still the Doctor. So why don't we just use the moneymaker?
See, I have a slightly different opinion. I think Russell and Disney have great confidence in Ncuti. He got more airtime and plot line of any previous Doctor in the regeneration story. Everyone always comes in at the end. This time Ncuti got to come on and introduce himself and get everyone ready to know what's going on. They also have already completed the entire season for 2024, season 14, series 14. They've already, or one, whatever. They've already completed next Christmas's special, and they are in the middle of filming his season 2. So regardless of, they're not thinking, oh, he's not going to be successful, let's try him out. They've got him, he's there for 2 years at least. It's basically done. It's a done deal. They are not, they believe in Ncuti, or they wouldn't have 2 years back shows to put on.
With eventual competition. Because let's just say, because like, you've cut the hype in half. There's no denying that. Now you've split the hype saying, oh my goodness, we still keep David Tennant. Now, like, you have people, like, I'm pretty sure you have the Tennant fans. Like, you have a certain line of Tennant fans that only watch the show because he's here. Now you have them laser focused.
Okay.
It's kind of weird how I want to put it. This is a show about change. If you keep things stagnant, it's kind of weird. It's dangerous territory. Because let's say, again, let's say that Ncuti underperforms, right?
Mhm.
and then the David Tennant thing comes out, and that thing just
If
blows
Ncuti
it
underperforms, they could cancel the
out of the
show.
water.
Let's have a backup. But I don't think they think that way. I don't think they're thinking that way, Zion.
I'm going to throw something in that neither one of you guys have talked about. You
Okay.
guys are assuming that
Yes.
David Tennant wants to come back.
Oh, he already
So,
no. Okay, and
He's
go ahead.
he's not interested in taking on the mantle, certainly
Right.
not full time.
He'll come back
And
once in a while.
while coming back once in a while is one thing, popping his face in, but I don't think there's going to be a Noble spinoff. I don't think there's
No.
going to be much of a spinoff of anything other than maybe a unit spinoff. And then we might get to see Donna and maybe even some of her extended family and maybe an occasional pop-up face of David Tennant. But we're not going to see him as the Doctor
Of
in
course
the
not.
Doctor role, not like that. Because here's the thing. He did this as a lark. David Tennant is an exceedingly busy actor.
Yes, he is.
So
Yes.
busy. I mean, he had 3 massive projects come out this year alone. So, and I lose track of how many other projects the poor man is in. I'm pretty sure his wife would like to see him once in a while. And
Yeah.
it just, he's not interested in taking
No.
the mantle back on at all. And I understand the feelings, but I was telling Mark beforehand, one of the things about Doctor Who, going back to the beginning, and although regeneration and certain things about it, and they had to create this to deal with the fact that William Hartnell was leaving, but nothing about Doctor Who has been constant.
No.
There are very few constants in Doctor Who.
The TARDIS.
It's changing up all the time.
Yeah.
And the TARDIS, which is really funny. We kept it as a police box, which hasn't existed since 72, and for the most part, there are some things in Doctor Who that exist because it's nostalgia, but most things change from doctor to doctor. There are little things that change, and I understand why you feel the way you do, Zion, and I absolutely validate your feelings. I think that Doctor Who is going to continually evolve because 60 years is a long time for any show, anywhere, anyhow, especially a science fiction show. And there's going to be adjustments. There's going to be changes because they have to. There has to be something new because it can't be the way it was in the 60s. Dear God, I love that show when I was a kid, but I wouldn't still be watching that show today in 2023. I need something more in my life. And I love the fact that I now have 5 million questions and I don't know where it's going to go next. And I love a good zinger. And
This was.
And what I like about Doctor Who is that I'm constantly surprised. We've had companions come and go. We've had doctors come and go. We've had weird things happen. And I have to choose about whether or not I'm going to allow myself to be okay with it. And sometimes you might I wasn't thrilled with that series of stories or that doctor or whatever. But I still stick by and show me the next one. And I don't think that Disney is ever going to say, David Tennant, we want you back.
Right.
Because David Tennant's going to say pound sand.
Yeah.
So, I know fans love him. I love him. I think he was he's my second favorite Doctor. But I like him in other things too. But I also respect the fact that we got to do things different, and we got him back, and we got him different at the same time. When you think about it, we got a much older, wiser David Tennant in this role, and I think that's why although there were so many things that you could say, oh look, we got David Tennant back as Doctor Who, he actually was a very different Doctor than he was when he was the 10th Doctor. It's very different.
A little bit, yes.
There's a lot of little idiosyncrasies that I think partially comes from being a older, wiser actor. But he was the Doctor, and then he became the Matt Smith Doctor, and then he became the Peter Doctor, and then became the Jodie Doctor, and now he's back to being the David Doctor. But he still has all those pieces in him. So he, as the Doctor, is a much older, wiser
Yes.
doctor.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that he would be a much different David Tennant version of the doctor. And I kind of really respected that and liked that because, of course, I'm a significantly older person since he was the doctor last too.
Why are we playing the age card again? Because
I know.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I enjoyed the 60th specials so much, because this is a show that I've grown up with, I've grown old with, and I'm going to watch for as long as they continue to exist, because Doctor Who is me and I am Doctor Who. And I am very excited for the next chapter and can't wait to see what they bring. And I still think that the TARDIS is going to be a little different. I feel like the 14th Doctor split, there's going to be some limitations. He's going to be allowed to take day trips, but I feel like he's not going to be allowed to make the big sweeping changes that the 15th Doctor will normally do. And I think that he's going to be more of a homebody. So we're probably not going to see much of him, if anything at all.
I sure
And
hope not,
I
because
I
it,
just
it's
I
just
feel like that would just detract from it. And unless we get Donna and Unit, and once in a while hey, what you bringing for dinner, we're not going to see them.
yeah, I hope not, because it's just extremely suspicious of why you would give him his own TARDIS. Like, you didn't need to do that unless you had plans
Well,
later on.
Well, don't you always want to leave things open ended just in case?
N-
I mean, think about
Not
all
this
the
one,
shows, but all the
personally me.
how many open ended storylines exist in Doctor Who? I mean, there's thousands of unanswered storylines in Doctor Who that have
I
never,
know,
if it wasn't for Big Finish, or and even then, may or may not be official canon, there'd be 5 million unanswered stories. And
I
even then, there
know.
still are unanswered stories. So there's a lot of things that remain unanswered, and we have to choose to be okay with it.
you know what else
I
is unanswered? Oh, go
agree.
ahead.
I agree, but we're entering the streaming phase in this
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
I feel like we're gonna get a lot of answers, lot of questions answered. And so, like, yeah, like, I'm just trying to think about it. If I have a suit on and I'm part of the table that's handling the show, I'd ask every time, why are we not using David Tennant? He's clearly the cash cow. They sold out of his sonic screwdriver in in like minutes.
Yeah.
So, like, the cash is there. Dude brings the pounds.
But
So yeah,
yes, but don't you think also keeping him as a maybe in the back pocket and then never really using him just keeps that salivation alive?
Well, as David said, about, appearing in either the 70th or 75th anniversary special, because that's what they'll ask him to do. He'll be the same doctor, just running a little slower.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And that would be fine.
I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Um,
It's
until the
hard.
ratings hit.
well, the
When we
ratings
see the
for
ratings, we will have some real questions. I promise you.
the overnight rating for the one that was on last night that we're talking about, the Giggle, was like 4.8 or 4.65 million, which is still damn good compared to what
Okay,
some of it was getting.
okay.
The one, and that's only for one night. It bills with the 7 days and then the month on the iPlayer. So we're talking kind of like the first, the Star Beast may hit like 8 or 9 million.
hmm
They're thinking all these could do it. Um, I wanted to ask a question about the way that the episode is, because we're talking about how it ends and what it leaves open. The character of Ncuti Doctor.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
by granting Tennant's Doctor a break from all the universe saving and guilt he has and all this stuff, and letting me have time off, does that mean that Ncuti's doctor is starting off carefree and fresh? Another reason why maybe it's season 1. My points of contention. He says he's finally himself when he splits from Tennant and is laughing kind of ecstatically. Also, according to Doctor Who magazine, Ruby meets the doctor, and I've seen pictures of this. Ruby meets the doctor at a dance club, and Ncudi is dancing up a storm.
Yep.
The doctor wouldn't do that, but maybe he would. Maybe this is who he was when William Hartnell's character was young. Maybe this is how he acted. Are we really getting a fresh beginning without the guilt and baggage on his shoulder that he's had accumulating for these 60 years? And should we?
And maybe we are.
It depends, because we just got that really nice scene with Tennant with the flux, and
Yeah.
it'd be a shame if it's just left there.
Well,
Like
that's another point. The
like,
flux,
like all the guilt of the flux is just flushed away.
yeah. Well, as they said, bigeneration is a myth and not real, yet it happened. Could that have something to do with the Timeless Child? Because if he was a Timeless Child, then he's not really a Time Lord. So he's not like all the Time Lords and can do things that are not normal for Time Lords. So it was a myth because it was in the past.
Okay,
Could
look. So now, here's another thing that bothers me about this episode. Since it's a myth and you're the Timeless Child, how is it a myth?
Right, but remember, everything about the Timeless Child has been stricken from the Matrix. There is no evidence. It's a myth.
Right. So how for
anything about the Timeless Child is a story.
Is a myth. Because it's never happened to the Timeless Child, so how would they know about it?
How do we know it's never happened to the Timeless Child?
You're right.
We don't. We don't know anything about the Timeless Child except that it continuously regenerates and
also
it's dead.
I have a question.
Okay.
The Doctor's not the Time Lord, correct? Or are we just putting that
he did acknowledge it. Russell did acknowledge it in Wild Blue Yonder that he may not, that the Timeless Child may be true, and that the flux and the all happened. Yeah.
So I have a question. Being what the Celestial Toymaker is, would he know if he is a Time Lord or not? Because
yes, because he is. Yes,
because
and
when
he does
Tennant,
say Time Lord,
yes, because when Tennant said let's go together, he said the Toymaker and the Time Lord.
He did. That's a good point.
So which one is it? Is he a Time Lord? Is he not? Because the Toymaker would know. If there's anyone who would know what something is, it is a Q-like entity, or a Toymaker-like entity, since that came first. That's just me. I just want to know which one is it, because if you're going to double down on it, at least stick to it. Because personally, I know that RTD is married to how he coined the term the last of the Time Lords. So to get rid of the word Time Lord on the Doctor feels kind of weird. So he's kind of clinging to it.
Well,
but we
because
he was, Time Lord or not.
He's known as a Time Lord. Maybe the Toymaker knows it, but everyone else in the universe thinks he's a Time Lord.
So then why would a Toymaker identify him as a Time Lord?
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he doesn't recognize it. I don't know.
One of the questions is that, is he a version of a Time Lord? I mean, it's one of the 5 million questions of what is he really? And can we truly answer that?
Oh yeah. You just opened up something that's kind of correct. Wasn't there a theory that there was a previous universe's Time Lords?
Yeah, and yes.
And he came through a wormhole, right?
Well,
no, but then But
the
Toymaker would know.
The Toymaker is a celestial being from the previous universe who, like the old ones, came to the new universe when it was created. And then supposedly the Toymaker has created a realm in our universe which is separate, and that's his domain. So he is a celestial being from the old universe. And yeah, there is but I think the Time Lords, I think the Time Lords being in the previous universe is either novels or Big Finish, which technically makes them possibly not canon.
Canon, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my
if you
goodness.
think about it, the fact that he's an old one from like an old one from the previous universe, that's also from the books. So yeah, you can't have it both ways, Russell. I don't know.
Yeah. I just want to know: is he one? Is he not?
I don't think
Yes,
we're going to
no.
find out because of that silly little word "who" in the title. I don't think we're going to find out.
I mean, we used to know for years.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe that's the purpose. Remember, the whole thing at the end of the classic series, Andrew Cartmel was trying to bring, and Jonathan Turner were trying to bring the mystery back. Doctor Who? Who is he? Is he not like a regular Time Lord? So they were planning something. This is just trying something else because the other one never went through, and they came up with their own original idea.
Yeah,
Remember, you read the books, right, Zion? The
for the
Virgin
most part,
Adventures?
yes.
Okay. So you know that the Doctor is actually the
The
third
other,
of a trinity.
yes, the
Rassilon,
other.
Omega, and the other. And supposedly the Doctor is not just another Time Lord. I'm not like any other Time Lord. He is the other. So they've already, in the books, they already pushed him not just being a Time Lord. And this is the same kind of idea. They're just trying to, 'cause it's change, my dear, and not a moment too soon. Maybe they're just trying, you know, and when you look at Ncuti, you go, "Oh, he was the Doctor all along." So he
You
was.
know, I heard a theory about that.
Uh-oh.
I
Go ahead.
I heard a theory that what happened was that the doctor just spit out the Watcher
Spit him out.
because, yeah, because since the Watcher was the doctor all along, and Shooty is the doctor,
Uh-huh.
the Watcher just came out.
Okay. Um. Yeah. I
Which
I
makes
got
sense
nothing
because
now.
he merged with the fourth Doctor to regenerate into the
Into the
fifth.
fifth. Yeah.
So who's to say that they can't demerge?
Well, okay. You brought me to something that I actually was almost going to leave out. It's something that Russell said on the Doctor Who podcast. Um, that this didn't just affect the 14th Doctor, it affected all the Doctor's previous regenerations. He
Oh,
hinted at the
interesting.
What?
creation of the Doctorverse in the moments of 14's bigeneration. It's much bigger than you think, and I hope it could lead to all sorts of things. So maybe the Watcher, and maybe that's what it is, Zion. Maybe you're right. Maybe not you, but maybe the rumor's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Russell was talking about things like when in the TV movie, when the Seventh Doctor is regenerating, he's watched by which Doctor was he watched by? He actually okay. So he's in a morgue drawer in San Francisco with David Tennant jesting that he's still trapped there. John Pertwee's doctor woke up on the floor of the laboratory while Colin Baker's doctor dealt with the Ronnie upon waking. There are all different permutations and things that could happen now and this was, remember Russell was saying the revolutionary change that, what
Oh,
might anger people? This was it.
Yeah.
He was changing but the change of mythos in the Timeless Child, I think, got a lot more hate than this possible one is going to get. I think Timeless Child, the people are going to go with this one. I think. Not all, because I know people are going crazy on social media right now. But
Interesting.
I don't think it's as bad. I think because it's not something that Russell created for this specials. He wanted to do it a while ago, the bigeneration. This was an idea he had when he was
really?
RTD1. Yeah. He just never had time to implement it.
I see.
So, yeah, this is something he's been thinking about for years. For, I guess, 2 decades now. Show's been
Wow.
on since 2005. Jeez.
Yep.
And you know what that means? And another reason why David Tennant could still be on? 2025 is the 20th anniversary of New Who.
Mhm.
David Tennant
Yeah.
comes back for that. That would be a perfect place for him to come back.
Maybe
Maybe they left it open so he can come back in 2 years.
in a limited capacity.
Right. No, right.
Yes.
It's like a multi-doctor story. And maybe in that one he
Yes.
dies the rest of the way and there's no more. I mean, anything can happen in Doctor Who. Except the Thomas Shaw. The Thomas Shaw can't happen. Okay. I wanted to point something out. You know, all the doctors at some point have a speech.
Yes.
And I thought the speech of the doctor scolding the human race.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a great speech, but it was really
It's good.
unforgettable. Let me get to it. But it's not just a giggle. Don't go thinking you've got an excuse. The human race might be clever and bright and brilliant. It's also savage and venal and relentless. All the anger out there on the streets, the lies, the righteousness, that's human. That's you. That's who you are. Using your intelligence to be stupid, poisoning the world, and hating each other. You've never needed any help with that. But today, something else is using your worst attributes, playing with you like toys. That's powerful. That's
And
powerful.
this is coming from a Time Lord, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
a timeless child. We
Oh,
don't know.
the
Again,
irony.
the irony.
Yes.
The irony. The people that almost killed the entire universe. Ah,
Yes.
yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Clearly.
But, Donna got to say something really interesting that stuck with me.
What?
When the doctor is kind of weary and thinking there's no way he can win a second, or as you said, Zion, a third game because the odds are against him. Donna went, dice don't know what the dice did last time. Games don't have a memory. Every game starts from scratch. If
Except
everyone in
when
the world had that thought going into doing things, much happier world, I think.
exactly. And you know what's the funny part? Donna would have lost against against the Toymaker, because if it was the Toymaker, at least the original one,
Mm-hmm.
she would have played the game of dice. The Toymaker would have not told her that the dice have legs, and then she would have lost. And then now she's a doll.
We don't want more dolls. Oh God, they were creepy. Oh
See, now,
God.
like, that's one thing that, like, when I was watching the first serial,
Mm-hmm.
that I was thinking about, because they left it vague, that everyone there is actually real. But it's funny because Steven is like just not is not just trying to pay no mind, saying just they are not real. They're just figments of the Toymaker's imagination.
Right.
But Dodo, she actually sees like these people are trapped here because they're acting human. They're arguing with each other. And yeah, so like now it comes down to this, and I kind of find it nice, or at least interesting, that like you get somewhat confirmation that they're actual real people.
Yeah. What do you think, Vicky?
Oh.
Stump the Vicky. If you want to see more episodes with Vicky being stumped, watch Mark Who 77 on the 77 Publications YouTube channel, where we interview British comic creators. like
I don't
John
get
Wagner.
stumped. It's
and-
just, it's coming up with a new question. That's where I get stumped.
You, you know, since the all 3 episodes are done, personally, I feel like it was the least anniversary.
We got a multi-doctor story. We got reminiscence of the past shows. Sounds like an anniversary to me, Zion.
We can't get Susan. We can't get Kellyanne Ford once.
Well, I
Just
remember
for
that was one of
5
the rumors. That was
seconds.
one of the rumors that she was going to be in it.
Just for 5 seconds, for her to look and say, "Huh, you've changed. I like it,"
Well, but here's
or
the
something
thing.
like
I
that.
mean, those 2-second cameos, they're both cute, and a lot of people don't like to do them.
No.
A lot of people says unless my cameo is going to be worth something, because I know that Bonnie wasn't terribly thrilled with her blip in
Power of the
the
Doctor.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she finally got a decent one in this one, and I'm really glad because I got to meet her at Gallifrey 1, and she was a very nice person.
Oh, nice.
And it just I was thrilled. I was thrilled to see that she was actually being treated as a computer programmer, and I mean everything that she was kind of fluff in her original incarnation.
Oh,
And it was
God, yeah.
just so nice to kind of see her. And I'm not gonna lie, the women that were running unit, I just being of the female persuasion myself, it was very, very nice.
Yeah.
We should run the world, and we do such
Go
a
to
good job.
Galaxy 4.
Anyway, we do a good job at unit. So
Oh, by
And
the
I
way,
do.
folks, that was not me talking. That was the evil Mark.
yeah,
That was me.
but it was just it was so nice to see a good cameo where it was a decent cameo, and it's hard. It's also hard when you have people that, okay, we want to throw them in, but who can we throw in that is physically capable of doing it, that is able to and have some weight, because there has been a big backlash over the years, and you saw this with Marvel, you've seen this with a lot of action science fiction shows where they've been saying, okay, having a cameo for cameo's sake sometimes gets a little annoying. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
isn't that sweet, they added this person and then they're gone. Okay, that was cute for half a second, but how about something a little bit more? Because it gets a little annoying after a while. And when you start to realize that some of these actors have passed, and some of these characters maybe should be brought back or can't be brought back for various reasons, but they're mentioned in passing, and they did a nice job with that.
Zion, you want to see Carol Ann
Yes.
Ford meet a future doctor or future doctors and be wondered by them and saying they're good?
I
The
saw
ones
5
in
doctors.
the ones in future 60th anniversary series of Big Finish audios. The last one that basically wrapped it up, except for the one that'll be next year, was mostly the Paul McGann and Carol Ann Ford and River Phoenix. River Phoenix is in it, folks. No,
Okay,
no,
that's really going to be wild.
that's wild. We're going back. No, but it's a Dr. Susan River Song story. But then this is interesting. So we had bigeneration in this one, right?
Right.
Yes.
There was something called degeneration in the Big Finish one, where
Yes.
the doctor was hit, and I'm not going to give who it was hit, but one of the doctors was hit by a ray that shouldn't exist, that started degenerating him, and he kept popping back from one doctor to another. And there were future doctors, there were past doctors, they were all in it. They covered 1 through 11, whatever, and it was bouncing around, and he was dying because of it. And and they had all these different characters from previous Big Finish and previous Doctor Who on TV episodes, and Carol Ann Ford as Susan was in the final one, helping the Doctor get better. So you do get Carol Ann Ford as part of the celebration, just not on TV.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a shame because she was part of the Genesis.
Yeah.
Like we just got Ian.
Yeah, we did get William Russell
Yeah.
or Russell Enoch as his real name is, but yeah.
Yeah, and like I don't have to say this, but everyone knows it. Carol Ann Ford is not going to be around for
No,
forever.
because she's already in her
No.
80s.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, here's the thing. Does Susan still exist in time?
Well, again, back in Big Finish, she fights the Time War. They brought her back from 22nd century Earth, and she's now in the Time War. So
Interesting.
the character is still in the Doctor Who universe. It's just, again, Big Finish, maybe not the TV. Because we don't know if the Big Finish is canon. They had that
True.
name
'Cause
drop
I was
in
always
the
under
50th
the-
anniversary that they were, but we don't.
No, true.
We don't know.
Yeah, I guess I kind of always felt like Susan was part of the family that the Doctor lost.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Mm.
And in the 50th, yeah. So I guess I always thought of the character as gone.
And then the Big Finish, I don't know how many years ago, had the Susan and her son, her and David Campbell's son, so the Doctor's great grandson, were with Paul McGann in a series of adventures too. So yeah, I mean,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So she definitely existed, being dropped off at the end of Dalek Invasion of Earth, not taking her with her. She gets married, has a kid, and then goes off with adventures. And then, spoiler, I don't know if I want to spoil this about the great grandson, so I won't. You have to listen to him yourself, folks. I could tell you something, but no. Wow. Anything? Oh. We haven't talked about the Z-Dex and its effects.
Oh, yes.
The Z-Dex is a wristband worn by unit soldiers, which were created by the Links. Thank you, Disney. It disrupts the brain patterns, flattening the spike of the psychic energy, and keeps them calm. So, to demonstrate what it's like when it's not on,
oh yeah,
Kate takes hers off, and she just
that slow simmering
was not good. She says some really
she says some
bad things about certain people, and then they put it back on her, and she was fine, and she was apologizing to everyone.
Yes.
And they all said, no need to apologize. But here's the thing, and that I was confused, because they're always right. That's what it makes you do. That was the gift that the Toymaker gave to all of humanity, so their prize to win all the time. Does that mean that these thoughts were thoughts that were buried in Kate's subconscious?
I wondered about that myself.
That came out because she was right. Because like the person he met the Dr. met on the street who was standing in front of the car, was talking about how he pays taxes on these roads. It should be his. But so those were his opinions, just made more, more
right.
Bigger.
You
and I'm thinking Kate thought he's an alien who is trying to hurt the Earth, and that what's her name? Brenda. Oh God. That she can walk, and it just that she saw her walk, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't sound like he, but it's got to be in there somewhere.
Well,
got to be in there.
Sometimes
she must have seen her walk, because you're right.
She has some limited mobility.
Yeah,
because
I saw her getting up a few times. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about that character. Something that not everyone knows about, and the character's name is Shirley Bingham.
Yes,
Something
I'm
that
sorry about
happened.
that, folks. I
No, that's
missed
okay.
that one.
Um,
Shirley Ann Bingham.
yes.
Yeah, played by Ruth
And
Natalie. Sorry, Ruth.
there apparently was some brouhaha because she had her legs crossed on her wheelchair.
Hmm.
And some brouhaha happened because people were like, well, people in wheelchairs can't cross their legs.
Right.
Because there is an assumption made, and I am speaking from my own experiences here, that if you're in a wheelchair, then we must all be quadriplegics. And I have actually had people tell me that my disabilities must not be bad enough. And I've had these discussions with people in strange places, in parking lots and in shopping malls and other places that I really would rather never have these discussions with anybody, especially people I don't know.
Hmm.
My medical history is none of their business, and it's really just none of their business.
Right.
But apparently, there was a discussion, and this poor actress was being vilified because, well, how disabled can she really be if she's able to cross her legs? And people don't realize that you can have limited mobility that requires you to most of the time use a wheelchair to get around,
Yeah.
but you can
You're
still
right.
occasionally stand or have some movements. And you know, and what they before that, you know, the first um episode of the 60th anniversary drops, this is all going on. They're already filming 2 and 3, and it just so happens in this one they have her stand up
Yeah.
at her desk, and that's when you realize that she's also a little person. She apparently has a form of dwarfism. You can tell with her legs, and so she has clearly some limited mobility, and she has some mobility, but you know, and it was really interesting when I was reading this article because it really brought up some feelings with me about how people just don't understand that there are a wide variety of disabilities, and stop being holier than thou.
Yeah.
And you know, hopefully with this, people will start looking at things a little bit differently, God willing. Um, but I think that there's a lot of times people may have a momentary thought, and this is what I've decided for Stewart. You have a momentary thought when you see someone or you see something. It's a momentary thought, and then you go, "Silly me, what's wrong with me?" You know, and you push it out of your head because you realize that it's silly or it's wrong or it's, you know, because all of us being human occasionally have incorrect thoughts. You know, we have a visceral reaction to something, we have an incorrect reaction to something, and then our more compassionate, humane, or intelligent side takes over and we go, forget that. And so maybe, just maybe, this erases not just filters, but compassion, reality, our ability to disseminate, our ability to consider everything and go to the most basest of human reactions for everything, which we all have had, and pull those really horrid reactions out of us and put those at the top. And where normally we would never even realize when we've even had that thought for a second or half a second, that thought now is there, present, and at the very top of our being. And it sucks that we humans make mistakes like that. But that's where we have compassion, intelligence, and the ability to reason to be able to rise above that. Unfortunately, not all humans have that ability.
Yep, sadly.
Okay, off my soapbox now.
Okay. So I think we mentioned, you know, the Star Beast, that Meep said that
Yes.
they had a boss and the Toymaker, and I thought it was interesting the way the Toymaker described a possible foreshadowing for Ncuti's doctor. The Toymaker goes, "There's only one player that he dare not face, the one who waits."
Yeah.
The doctor asks who he is, and Toymaker replies, "I saw it, hiding, and I ran." The doctor asks what he means, and the reply the Toymaker was, "That's someone else's game."
Thank you. I want to know who that is.
It's a future doctor.
It's
It's something. It's another one of those dangling plot lines that Russell can or cannot pick up.
it's
I
he
I
who
hope they do.
remains.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, there you go. I'll go with that one.
Savalier. Oh, and Russell, thank you for keeping your promise and using the name Mavic Chen for the first time on Doctor Who since 1965, 66. Mavic Chen, president of the solar system. We salute you as long as you don't sell us out to the Daleks again.
it is really interesting that they bring up stuff that doesn't really have any access to
Yeah,
that yeah, because that's what Dalek Master Plan, right?
yeah.
You
Dalek
see,
Master Plan. It
you
started
can't watch
right
that.
before Christmas 65 and ended after New Year's in 66. I had the years right. Cool. Ooh, and I didn't look it up. I just knew because I'm Mark 42, and that rhymed.
12
You were saying
episode
Zion.
Dalek, 12, 12 episode Dalek
12
epic.
episodes with the Christmas episode technically having nothing to do with Dalek Master Plan except for we're in mid-transit in the TARDIS.
And somehow most of the episodes are missing.
Yeah.
I'll never
and
understand
Mission
how.
to the Unknown, which was the prologue, so 13 episodes really, but
Yeah, but
with the myth makers in between.
But that was remade, very well made too.
A college, I forgot what university in England, the film class, one of the guys put together a production of Mission to the Unknown. So even though it doesn't exist in the catalog, it's a wiped episode, a missing episode. There is a fully performed and special effected, that's a word, version of it. You can find that on YouTube, by the way, folks.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, there are 3 episodes of Dalek Master Plan that exist, and it would be really nice and probably way expensive for the BBC to do an animated version of it.
I'm gonna use that as a segue.
Have you seen? Yes. Have you seen the trailer for the new animated Celestial Toymaker they're releasing?
Yes.
It's not. I don't know if it's done yet, but it's coming out soon.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the animation. It looks like early Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's like a video game kind of. I think that works for the Toymaker, a game like video animation.
Oh, interesting.
I think that works perfectly. And I know people are going, "Oh, it sucks. They can't do this. Is the worst piece." But I think no, it suits it. Suits you, sir.
The models look weird, but the backgrounds look great.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. I think I'm ready to watch it. That's another reason I didn't want to show the reconstructions at the thing, because I'm going to show the episode when it comes out.
Cool.
Okay.
I think that works. Okay, guys, we're coming to the end of the show. Final thoughts, everyone. Who wants to go first? I'm not going to stump Vicky. Zion, go first.
Do not undermine Ncuti RTD, for the love of God.
Okay, now it's your turn, Vicky.
I am looking forward to what comes next. I'm excited for it. And I appreciate these 3 specials. I don't know what I was expecting, but I have been very pleasantly surprised by all 3 of them. And cannot complain, cannot wait until the Christmas special. I'm waiting with bated breath.
Yeah.
The last 3 episodes have been better than the last 3 seasons. I'll say that.
I wanted to point out, did you guys notice Donna breaking the 4th wall?
No.
Okay, so the scene in unit headquarters where they're watching the plane video, the guy crashing, and then they put on what seemingly is the Doctor Who universe's prime minister. And the prime minister...
and she goes, no change there.
Yeah, what do I care? I mean, seriously, why should I care about you? And she looks at the camera. Just
Oh yeah,
she just
that.
moves her head and says that line. No
That
change
was
there.
perfect. That
Yeah.
was absolutely perfect.
That was I also last thing I want to bring up, and then we'll end the show. It was nice that they still kept in continuity that during times of crisis, the Doctor is president of the Earth,
Yes.
Yes.
which we haven't seen since I think Death in Heaven. But
No, they did that very well, and it was practically unspoken, and it was just all of our leaders are incapacitated by the giggle. I give you the go. You know, boom.
Thank you,
bang,
Doctor.
gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
W-
Bam.
What wasn't it? Wasn't it the Zygon inversion? Because he was in the plane and they blew up the plane.
Oh no, but I think they mentioned it. You're probably right. I'm thinking of the Missy storyline with the Severin, but you're probably right. I think I goofed up there. But
Yeah,
if you know, folks, if you want to solve this dilemma between Zion and myself, please write to us. Go email us at markwho42.42@gmail.com, or go to one of our social media pages and leave a comment. Plus, we ask you when you're listening to this, go to the podcast platform that you're listening to it, and please give us a review and a rating. We appreciate 5-star reviews. Those are always nice. But, whatever. We hope you're enjoying these shows. Okay, we've done final words, so I guess we're done. And you know what? I thought this was the last time I'd be able to go allons-y, but it looks
Maybe
like
not.
in the future it may happen again. So we may be able to say again, on behalf of myself, Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, and the Cosmic Fly on the Wall, I will repeat that over and over. Zion Quiros. Bye, everyone. Allons-y. You've been listening to the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast, or as it's simply known, Mark Who 42's Universe. Hosting the show were Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, and Zion Quiros. If you'd like to leave a comment for us, please email us at markwho42.42@gmail.com. Mark Who 42's Universe, copyright 2023.